Good afternoon, everyone. Today we're going to explore one of William Wordsworth's most enduring works, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. Written in 1804 and published in 1807, this poem is a quintessential romantic meditation on nature, memory, and imagination. But this poem is more than just a recounting of an encounter with a field of daffodils. It's a masterclass in poetic technique, where Wordsworth's choice of meter, diction, and literary devices enhances the philosophical depth of the work. As critic as Cleanth Brooks observes, the poem's simplicity masks a profound exploration of memory and its ability to transform fleeting beauty into eternal joy. We'll dive into the poem's themes and discuss how Wordsworth's use of literary elements like imagery, personification, and meter heightens its emotional and intellectual impact. So, first, as always, some background information and the inspiration for the poem. The inspiration for this poem came from a walk Wordsworth took with his sister Dorothy in April of 1802. They encountered a field of daffodils along the shores of Ullswater in the Lake District. Dorothy's journal describes how the flowers tossed and reeled and danced in the breeze, capturing the vibrant energy that would later define Wordsworth's poem. Critic Stephen Gill notes, Wordsworth's genius lies in how he translates this visual memory into an emotional and imaginative experience, aligning perfectly with his theory of emotion recollected in tranquility. Okay, let's start reading. Stanza 1, The Solitary Wanderer. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Wordsworth begins with a simile, comparing himself to a drifting cloud. This image suggests detachment and solitude, but also foreshadows the poet's eventual connection with the landscape. The line is written in iambic tetrameter, a rhythmic choice that creates a light, floating cadence, mirroring the poet's wandering and reflective mood. The tone shifts when the poet encounters the daffodils. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, lines 3 through 4. The suddenness of all at once emphasizes the immediacy and surprise of the moment, while the words crowd and host evoke abundance and vitality. Critic Cleanth Brooks interprets this as a moment of emotional transformation, where solitude gives way to the shared energy of nature. In stanza 2, there is a focus on the living landscape. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. Here, Wordsworth extends the image of the daffodils with a cosmic comparison, elevating them to an almost divine realm. The simile underscores their infinite beauty and permanence. The meter in these lines reinforces the imagery. The steady iambic rhythm mirrors the endlessness of the stars, creating a sense of continuity. Personification is also key in this stanza. The daffodils are described as tossing their heads in sprightly dance, line 12, imbuing them with human-like joy. Critic Jeffrey Hartman writes, through personification, Wordsworth blurs the line between human emotion and natural beauty, making the daffodils participants in his emotional revival. In the third stanza, we get the poet's response. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not be but gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. Wordsworth emphasizes the emotional impact of the scene, describing the daffodils as company. This transforms his initial solitude into a communal experience. The juxtaposition of lonely in the first stanza with jocund company here underscores the emotional journey from isolation to connection. The waves of the lake also appear in this stanza, The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. Lines 13 and 14. And the competitive imagery suggests that the daffodils embody a purer, more vibrant joy than even the dynamic beauty of the water. Critic Stephen Gill observes that Wordsworth's interplay of imagery and diction elevates the scene into a celebration of nature's ability to inspire and energize. In the fourth stanza, we look at memory's power. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. This stanza introduces the concept of the inward eye, symbolizing memory and imagination. The poem shifts from the immediacy of the daffodils to their enduring emotional impact. The phrase, the bliss of solitude, captures Wordsworth's romantic belief in the restorative power of nature, even when experienced through memory. Critic Cleanth Brooks describes this stanza as the culmination of Wordsworth's poetic method, where memory transforms fleeting sensations into lasting joy and wisdom. The daffodils in this poem symbolize nature's ability to uplift the human spirit. Wordsworth's use of personification imagery makes the daffodils come alive, allowing the reader to share in the poet's joy. The shift from immediate experience to reflection is central to Wordsworth's theory of emotion recollected in tranquility. Jeffrey Hartman writes, the inward eye represents the poet's ability to revisit the past, transforming it into a source of strength and renewal. The poem's consistent iambic tetrameter gives it a light, flowing rhythm, echoing the movement of the daffodils in the waves. This meter creates a harmonious interplay between form and content, mirroring the poem's themes of connection and unity. While I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud faced criticism in its time for its simplicity, modern scholars recognize its depth. Lord Byron mocked Wordsworth's focus on rustic scenes, but Cleanth Brooks defends the poem, arguing that, quote, its simplicity allows the profound themes of memory and connection to shine through without distraction, end quote. Jeffrey Hartman adds, Wordsworth's ability to universalize the personal is what makes this poem timeless. So why does I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud continue to resonate? In a world dominated by distractions, Wordsworth's invitation to find joy and meaning in nature feels more urgent than ever. Cleanth Brooks writes, the daffodils are not just a momentary joy for Wordsworth, they're a reminder to us all to slow down and find beauty in the ordinary. So let's close with the poem's final lines. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. Lines 23 and 24. These lines encapsulate Wordsworth's romantic vision. Nature's beauty, once experienced, lives on in our memories, offering joy and solace long after the moment has passed. As you reflect on this lecture, think about your own connections to nature. How might you, like Wordsworth, revisit those experiences through your inward eye, transforming them into sources of inspiration and renewal? Thank you for listening to this poem. May Wordsworth's Daffodils remind you to find splendor in the simple and solace in the enduring.